One of the things we really recommend for organizations who are trying to figure out where to start is to do what's called a materiality assessment. And that's really, understanding what the ESG topics are that are most important to your organization.
Joining me today to share some thoughts on ESG in the REIT industry is Jennifer Leitsch, Managing Director, Climate Change and Sustainability Services with EY. Jennifer, I understand that you recently took on your new role at EY. Could you tell us a little bit more about your responsibilities and your background in sustainability reporting?
I support our clients with ESG strategy and disclosure, as well as climate change and decarbonization initiatives. And I've been actually doing that work in-house for a number of years at real estate firms. So I just joined EY in December, but for the last 12 years, I've been in-house first at Prologis for 5 years, and then CBRE for the last 7 years. So having done all of these types of activities in-house, I'm really excited to take that experience and support our clients in these areas.
For companies just beginning their ESG journey, how should they go about getting started?
One of the things we really recommend for organizations who are trying to figure out where to start is to do what's called a materiality assessment. And that's really, understanding what the ESG topics are that are most important to your organization and most important to your stakeholders. And this could be a very extensive process, or it could be something that you really just start out by asking either your stakeholders directly or even your colleagues that talk to your stakeholders. So talk to your investor relations team and say, hey, what are our investors asking us about in terms of ESG? What are we getting asked about in different ratings and rankings and surveys that people are sending to us? What are our clients asking us about? And from there, you'll start to get a pretty good idea of the types of topics that are the things that you should be focusing your time and attention and resources on. And of course, you can do a much more formalized, more extensive process. But if you don't have the resources to do that, even just having a few conversations can really get you started down the right path.
What frameworks do you see companies most often utilizing? And should companies try to utilize all of them, or should they tailor it to their individual company circumstances?
I would say focus on the things that matter most to your organization, again, and to your stakeholders. So if you're a publicly traded organization, as obviously, a REIT would be, you would want to talk to your stakeholders who are your investors, and they will likely tell you to respond to GRESB, right? Investors are using GRESB to assess, the environmental, social, and governance attributes of portfolios, and so that's a good place to start for a REIT. Investors typically are looking for disclosures that are included in SASB, the Sustainability Accounting Board standards, as well as the TCFD, the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. I know that's kind of a mouthful, but those are the things that your investors might already be asking you about. And so those are some of the things to consider, some of the standards and frameworks and assessments to consider using. I wouldn't discount GRI, though. And I know I'm already throwing another acronym into the mix, but GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative, is a standard that organizations use to respond to the requests from a broad set of stakeholders. So not just investors, but clients and communities and NGOs and other types of stakeholders that might have an interest in what your organization is doing.
And lastly, how can REITs effectively involve the finance function in building out their sustainability reporting infrastructure?
And one area where they really can help the sustainability team is around data governance and controls. Especially with data that's going to be disclosed publicly, you want to make sure that your house is in order, that this information is accurate. And as I'm sure we'll talk about a lot here at this event, the new proposed rule on climate disclosures that came out from the SEC has an attestation component associated with it. And so even if companies have been calculating their carbon footprint, if they haven't been getting it verified or haven't been getting it assured to a reasonable level of assurance, those are the types of things your finance team will understand what those terms mean and really can help you work through what you need to do to make sure your data is top quality and make sure you're comfortable disclosing that publicly.